Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. And of course, here's your meme of the day, brought to you by FiveMind.com. So you'll see these kinds of clips everywhere. I've been seeing it really for the last couple of months as this entire election has been going on. You'll have moments like this on CNN.
When you put in communist and yes, communist policies, that's what ZOHRAN MAMDANI is talking about.
He's not a communist,
it
he's a
never
democratic
works.
socialist. He says he's a democratic
I
socialist.
can't tell what the difference is.
Well, he can describe
Explain what the difference is.
He can describe the differences for you. The socialism is not the same basis of communism in this country. You know that quite well.
The man wants to create government-run grocery stores. He wants free transportation, both of which are impossible to do. Because how
that communism is a trigger word to try to undermine all of his policies. He's not a. He says he's a socialist.
I don't need to undermine his policies. His policies undermine himself.
Well,
because they've never worked.
We got Byron Donalds, who claims that ZOHRAN MAMDANI is a communist, and then in comes the semantic argument, oh, he's not a communist, he's a Democrat socialist. But to me, honestly, it's tomato, tomato. And even if you grant their distinction, let's say that communism is total state ownership, the abolishment of private ownership, versus, let's say, quasi-communism, right? That's socialism or democratic socialism, where you have a semblance of free market, but it's essentially under heavy state control, and many industries are completely dominated and controlled by government. At the end of the day, the core rot still remains. There's still the same problems. And the issue isn't the label. It's not the semantic arguments between the difference in worldview. No, the problem is the idea at the core. When you hand over the keys of an entire economy to one political committee, to one political organization, one government, you replace millions of independent decisions that are being made across an entire market. You know, I guess let's say it takes a village to raise a child, and you hand over the keys to one centralized brain. The idea that system is ever going to produce better results is insane. It never does. Central planning sounds great. Well, honestly, it doesn't even sound great on paper, but to some people it does. The government's gonna give me everything. Oh, I'll never have to lift a finger. It sounds great if you're lazy and unproductive, but it's almost always a recipe for disaster in so many aspects. And not only does it always fail to deliver proper results and quality products, but it's also a path towards dictatorship. You're basically handing over the keys to the castle. And while the left might be making the argument that ZOHRAN's not a communist, well, he essentially is, and honestly, he's the closest thing you're gonna get in current day American politics. And there is a red, flashing warning sign right now. The alarm bells should be going off. And let me show you guys what's causing that, at least for me. In terms of ideas, in terms of platform, and in terms of rhetoric, this guy is the absolute biggest red flag in American politics. Let me show you guys what's going on. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. All right, folks, so as if the initial red flags during the campaign weren't enough, you know, ZOHRAN talking about seizing the means of production, as if that wasn't enough of a bright red communist flag, well, he takes it to a whole other level with this one. Take a look at this moment from ZOHRAN MAMDANI's victory speech.
We will prove that there is no problem too large for government to solve and no concern too small for it to care about.
Holy frickin' moly, he says there's no problem too big for government to solve and no concern too small for it to care about. Those are the scariest words in the English language. It's basically a rephrasing of exactly what Ronald Reagan warned you about.
The 9 most terrifying words in the English language are, I'm from the government and I'm here to help.
Now, you can't say that you weren't warned, but obviously this is the worldview. Central planning, massive government. You don't need to do for yourself, we'll do for you. Oh, does it sound all good? It makes you all warm and fuzzy inside. Are you struggling to make ends meet? Are you jealous of other people's lifestyles who are doing better than you? Well, don't worry, just give up and let us do it for you. We promise we'll deliver the results. It sounds great in theory. And of course, every time with these little socialist revolutions, the hype in the early stage is always at an all-time high, and the confidence as well. ZOHRAN MAMDANI clearly is signaling here that he's gonna make it happen, and of course his cult followers like Hassan Piker, well, they're signaling a whole lot of confidence as well.
I no longer have to prove that this kind of politics works. I can just point the ZOHRAN.
Hassan Piker doesn't even have to make arguments anymore. No, socialism works, he's just gotta point to ZOHRAN. I find it funny that he makes this extremely arrogant and confident claim before ZOHRAN's even had a single day as New York City's mayor. And also, speaking of red flags, this is coming from the person who in the same breath said this.
What do you think it means that this guy ran as a socialist and anti-communism didn't work to stop him? That's big.
Yeah, I think we are in the heart of the imperial core. This is the country that defeated the USSR, unfortunately. And the reality of the matter is, there's a lot of antagonism. There's no class consciousness in the United States of America. It's one of the things I try to address every day with my commentary. And I will say this, the conditions have deteriorated so much that everyday Americans, in spite of their lack of class consciousness, are finally arriving at the conclusion that perhaps there is an alternative out there. There is an alternative that focuses on them as opposed to the interests of the billionaires and the millionaires, as opposed to the interests of the capital owners. And I mean, you can't help but notice that. You can't help but feel at least a little bit of excitement around that.
It's apparently unfortunate that America defeated the Soviet Union, the USSR. Then he goes on pushing some class grievance politics. Another massive communist red flag, by the way. But it's Soviet revolution energy in the air, and it's apparently for many people contagious. But it always works the same way. It's always the same pattern, right? When the revolution begins, people are hopeful. They've got a dream, the socialist dream right in front of them. The utopia is a foregone conclusion, but it always ends in disaster. And the arrogance that you have to think that you're gonna be the one who gets it done, right? ZOHRAN Mamdani, he's the special little snowflake who's gonna undo hundreds of years of history and make big government work. It's a level of arrogance that I think is unmatched. And obviously it's not gonna work because it never works. Central planning and concentration of authority always fails, time and time again. No one government can assess or process the constantly changing information that the widespread free market can be on top of. It's simply an issue of logistics. You've got all kinds of different corporate entities, they're all on the ball, they're paying attention to what's going on, and most importantly, they're flexible. A spread of different corporations can react to a dynamic market situation, and sometimes it's only some of them that will. You'll have a couple companies that'll make the right decisions, but you might have some that make the wrong decisions and they end up going under. Well, what happens when you have everything centralized in one government corporation and they make the wrong decision? Utter disaster. Then, of course, who's footing the bill? Taxpayers. It's great. Oh, it's great. It's great. Central planning until it isn't, until it falls apart. Then, of course, you're missing proper incentives. Profit is the ultimate incentive for delivering a good service. In the open free market, if you serve people well, you are rewarded. You grow. But if you don't, you either shrink or collapse. And then somebody who's doing a better job can come in and provide that service. Government monopolies do not die. There's no threat of collapse if they don't deliver a proper service. They get to fail forward, and that warps the whole incentive dynamic. There's no incentive, there's no urgency to actually do things right. There's no incentive to fix what is broken. You know, Mamdani's talking about rent-controlled apartments, government-ran grocery stores, free public transportation for all. Well, if there's no profit incentive, how are you reinvesting? All you're gonna do is create ghettos, trashed grocery stores, public transit systems that are falling apart. If there's no money to make it good in the first place, well then it's just gonna crumble and be cruddy. Not to mention there's no incentive for innovation to do things better, more efficiently. And so you can talk all you want, oh well it's not communism, it's quasi-communism, it's still the same thing. And all the same red flags are there. ZOHRAN Mamdani is the red flag, and I'd argue ZOHRAN Mamdani is in fact a communist. And well, what can I say other than good luck? Good luck, New York City. You can't say we didn't try. You can't say Ronald Reagan didn't warn you. But look, this is democracy. This is where Democrat politics is headed. You know, at the end of the day, you can't argue with the will of the voters. And this is what New York City voters wanted. Well, have fun with your little social experiment here. Have fun trying to fund all of these programs as you annihilate productivity, scare away investment, and cause mass capital flight out of the state. Good frickin' luck. I'm telling you, you're gonna need it. Anyways, that's pretty much what I got for you guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.